and every one of you to Open Heart this morning. We are so very glad to see you today. This is a busy month. When I looked at all of the stuff that's going on in the bulletin, just here at Open Heart, the things that are happening here, but just in general. We know that we're in the midst of the holiday season, and today we are observing World AIDS Sunday. Yesterday was World AIDS Day, the time when the world recognizes and acknowledges the fact that there still is an epidemic of people that are infected with the HIV virus. And those of you that know me know that over the years I've worked in that area. I've done everything from being a health educator, HIV health educator, to actually doing testing, to the unfortunate thing of actually having to perform funerals for people who died from the complications of AIDS. And in some cases, because their own clergy would not do that, or was very abusive to them or their families and all of that. And so as I looked at that and looked at the fact that still here in Shelby County that we have about 8,000 people, it's estimated, that are living with HIV, and another 2,000 that have it and don't even know it. That's why it's important to be tested. But it's important, I think, for us as a community of faith to recognize and to talk about it, if just for a moment, because you never know. I know that several years ago when we first started doing this, and there was a woman who visited on the request of another member, and she came and she sat in the back of the building there, and as I was talking about it, I noticed she, you know people's body language, she had her arms folded, and she had this look on her face, and I thought, well, there's somebody that maybe didn't think she was going to hear this today, her coming as a visitor. But what happened is, when service was over, the celebration was over, she came up to me, and she said, I need to talk to you for a moment. She said, I don't know why I came today. Said the person who was here at the time kept inviting her and had been inviting her for months. She's been inviting me for months. I don't know why this Sunday I decided to come. She said, but what I'm getting ready to tell you, only my doctor and my grandmother know. And that is, just this past week, I was diagnosed with HIV. And I don't know where to turn or what to do, but I feel like that God brought me here this morning. And it was from that period on that I had an opportunity to work with her, to advise her, to refer her to a place where she could get the information and all of the help and assistance that she needed. And then it was several years ago, just a matter of fact, 2 summers ago, I was walking in a parking lot and I heard somebody say, "Hey, you're open heart, open arms," something like that. She said, "But I just want to remind you, I'm the person that came that Sunday, and thank you so much for your help," and all of that. So you never know. And as I thought about all of that, I also thought about the season that we're in. The season of, I call it light. This season of light, our theme for the month. If you think about the holidays that we are celebrating this month as across faith traditions, they focus on or center in some way on light. We've already had the Festival of Lights with Diwali. From our Hindu friends, we know that we have in Hanukkah and some of the things that are affiliated with that. We know that Christmas from the Christian tradition and other things that have that element or that image of light that are a part of what they teach and a part of what they do and all of that. And I thought about that too in conjunction with the issue of HIV as I was driving this past Friday to a breakfast sponsored by one of the AIDS service organizations here, Friends for Life. And it was on my way there that it was 7 in the morning and it was still kind of dark, and I got there to the Botanic Gardens and walked down the hallway. It was still kind of dark going down the hallway, and when I got in the room where the breakfast was being served, there was light there, and I thought about the contrast of darkness into light. And then when they had the person who spoke to give her testimony, her name was Mildred Richards-Edwards. She doesn't mind telling her story because she tells it all over the place. I saw her on TV yesterday. And she started to talk about her living with HIV. And one of the things that she said that struck me was that being infected with HIV saved her life. Being infected with HIV saved her life. And she went on to explain that what she meant by that was that prior to that, she had just been kind of living life willy-nilly, going and doing this and going and doing that. And it was when she became diagnosed with HIV that she finally understood that if I'm going to continue in my life and with my life, there are some things I'm going to have to do. So she no longer took life for granted. She no longer took each day for granted, but realized that each and every day she had to be actively involved in her own health and in her own life if she were to survive, and not only survive, but to thrive and to live with the disease that she is living with. And it made me think about how years ago, when people would get that diagnosis, we would see and they would feel that image of darkness come over them and all of that kind of thing. And it led me to a few conclusions about this whole image of darkness, and that's why the message today is called Embrace the Darkness for the Gift of Darkness. That first we have to do in our lives, when we experience those things that we would identify as being darkness, whether they are illness, whether they are financial difficulties, whether they are family problems or relationship problems or whatever else that is happening that would have us feeling depressed and down and all of that, one of the first things we need to understand and need to do is to embrace the darkness. Embrace it. Now I know some of you are looking at me and saying, embrace it. The first thing I want to do is get away from it. But only until we embrace it. I didn't say stay in it. I said embrace it. As someone once said about the 23rd Psalm that says, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death," you don't stay there, you're walking through. As we embrace it, embrace the darkness. Learn to face that it's there, because no matter what we talk about affirmations and all of the positive side of life and everything that we teach here, there's a point and a period that when something is happening, that no amount of affirmation or denial or anything else will erase the fact that it's there. So we embrace it. Didn't say we stay there, but we embrace it. Embrace it meaning that we recognize that I've got to take action. Now, not get caught up in thinking that we're going to be, the ones to do all of that, but that when we say we're going to take action, we're going to become open and available to the possibilities that happen. But it only happens when we embrace the darkness, because if you stay with me for a moment, it is in the darkness that possibilities come. We have all of the imagery of darkness and all of the things that come from there. And one of the things that comes back to me in this understanding of darkness is the possibility of birth. It's the possibility of something new emerging from it. If you think about it for just a moment, we symbolize and think about the womb often as being a dark place. But it's one of those places that reminds me of how it was described, or what happens there is described in that 139th number of Psalms, where it says that you knit me together in my mother's womb, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. That it's in the midst of the darkness that new possibility and creation begins to happen. The image that we have from creation stories around the world, so many of them start out with a sense of darkness, but it is out of the darkness that creation happens. It's no accident that we are in this time of the year and in this season where we are celebrating light, but contained within this month is the darkest and the shortest day. Because there's a recognition that you first have to go through the darkness to get to the light. Have to first embrace it and embrace the idea of birth in order to get to it. But it is out of the darkness that so much can happen. I remember years ago reading an interview with Nelson Mandela, and it was they were questioning him and asking him about when he was released from prison there on Robben Island. And they said, how in the world, going through 27 years of imprisonment and all of the darkness and abuse and all of the being separated from your family and all of the other things that you endured, how were you able to forgive the people that jailed you? And he said, I came to the realization that as I walked through that door and walked out into the sunlight, that if I didn't forgive them, even though I was free, I would still be in prison. That when we understand that it's in the midst of darkness that the possibility for life, for forgiveness, for wholeness, for all of that emerges. And when we embrace it with the understanding and the knowing that in all of this we are not alone, that in all of this we have the presence and the essence of God in us, and all is well. When we understand that and recognize that, that's when we can understand the gift and how darkness can be a gift. I think about years ago when my son Kenny was small, and it was right around Christmas time that they were advertising on television one of the fast food restaurants, one of their meals. It wasn't the Happy Meal, it was whatever they call it at Burger King. And there was some type of toy that came in the meal that he was so excited about getting and wanted us to take him to Burger King, and kept on. So finally, so he would be satisfied, I took him to Burger King. We got there, we got whatever meal it was, and we went home and he got his toy out and everything, and he held it up, and he was disappointed because it didn't do what he had saw that it was supposed to do on television. So I took it and I looked at it for a moment, and then I went in another room. And I stayed there for a couple of minutes, and then I came back out the room, and I handed it to him again. And when he got it, he looked at it, and his face lit up, and he was happy, he was joyful. And what it was a piece of cardboard, actually. It was supposed to be some kind of spy transmitter, transmitting spy code or whatever, but it was a piece of cardboard. But inside of that, and there were slits in the cardboard, but inside of that cardboard was a piece of specially treated paper that if you took it and you held it to the light and you let it get exposed to the light for just a few minutes, and then you took it in the dark room, it would hold the light and it would hold the luminosity of the light even in the darkness. And it did so because the paper that was inside of it was specially treated in order to hold or maintain that light. And so as I thought about that, I thought about us. I thought about you and me, that we are specially treated. I already said that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. The psalmist affirms that. But there is something in each of us. We affirm that. We started out talking about it this morning. We wanted to do that with you this morning here at Open Heart. So when we started the day, we started with meditation. And in the meditation that we had this morning, those of us that were here remembered that we talked about experiencing or imaging in our mind this radiant light that was all around us. And then at the end of the meditation, I reminded us that the light wasn't from out there anywhere, but it emanated from inside of us. And then we came with the bell that Rena and Alejandra and Zelia, they called us to attention, but they called us to a sense of clarity with those bells to remind us that you are in a special place and something special is about to happen. And then we start to sing the song about we are the radiant light. I am a radiant light of God. And I shine all of these things. We went on to remind in the midst of service with the affirmative reading and the moment of fellowship. All of that was designed to remind you of the fact that there is something special about you. Even the song about a hero coming along. You are that hero. That you are special. You are that one right here and now that has the luminosity that is in you. It's not coming from outside of you, but it's in you. And the thing of it is that on yesterday I kept hearing this quote over and over and over again. That the ones who run the world are the people who show up. You showed up today. You were here. And because you were here, you are affirming that you are part of that light. That light comes from you. That light is you. You are affirming that here and now you understand, even if only intrinsically at this moment, that there is a light in you that can't be put out. There's a light in you that no matter how much or how long it's been obscured, the moment that you recognize and realize that it's there, it's available and it's shining. You will understand that here and now, no matter how often other people might have tried to dim your light, that there's a light and there's a way in you that nothing ultimately can dim it. When you make up your mind that you're going to be that radiant light of God, that you're going to allow that radiant light of God within you to express itself, to shine, to be what it is, to be all you can be, you will shine. And you will move through whatever obstacles or challenges or circumstances of life with a sense of illumination and a sense of enlightenment. And the thing that I'm here to tell you this morning is you don't have to go anywhere else to get it. You've already got it. Nobody has to sell you anything, teach you anything else. It's already in you. And when you make the decision to embrace it and let it be, let it be. All right. That's it. We know that's spiritual. Yeah. This little light of mine will let it shine. There's a verse in there that we don't oftentimes sing, but I like that verse that says, I'm not going to make it shine. Just going to let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. So,
We are